dynasty and often is considered the first pharaoh of the 19th dynasty. He is the guy who seized the throne and basically ousted Akhenaton and threw him off the throne, and basically that began a series of expulsions in which finally Akhenaton and all of the priests that had followed him, you see, there was a big routing that took place.
Yeah.
A huge routing of these false Luciferian so-called monotheists. So isn't it laughable now when Christians are looking back and saying monotheism, the Jesus before Jesus, the sort of misguided Christ before Christ, how wonderful. If they only knew what their monotheism really was and what it was doing from day one in this extremely egalitarian country that barely waged war on anybody, never expanded its territory, had more rights for women than any other culture ever known in the history of the world. Yeah. Not perfect, but certainly much more perfect than any other civilization we've ever had. Yeah. And the moment that the thing that we know as Atonism or monotheism arises, there's instantaneous chaos, bloodshed, and war. So if anyone needed proof of why Christianity and Judeo-Christianity is the way it is today and why we've suffered so much under these Leviathans, need they look any further than to the origins of monotheism? And that is why the scholars have had a vested interest, Henrik, in smoke-screening this, in hijacking the term monotheism, and in really spray-painting this over so that it appears that the origins were just this sort of well-meaning but slightly misguided version of Christianity that came later, and how wonderful that should have happened. And anyone who buys into this, it's nonsense. How could God be such a dope that he created monotheism the first time around and then kind of blew it that he had to do it later on? I mean, the whole thing, even from a Christian standpoint, doesn't make any sense.
Of course, yeah. You know, to tie this together, what you have been talking about here with the modern world, except through Freemasonry, as you did. This is, of course, I saw the picture on the astrotheology page with Aton as the lion of tribe of Judah.
That's right. And when you're talking about House of David or House of Judah, these are the expelled Hyksos dynasties of Egypt. It's the Atonist cult. The entire Atonist cult of Akhenaton, the Levites, the Hyksos, were expelled. This is a very amazing event. And the Freemasonic societies have preserved the true religion. These are monotheists. These are people who are Atonists, because when Akhenaton was expelled, he couldn't work openly anymore. So they devised the name Moses, which is what Sigmund Freud always said, that Akhenaton was Moses, and it turns out that is correct. Oh. And later on, when the scripting of the Old Testament and the re-scripting of these stories, because what I'm talking about is Egyptian history here. It's Egyptian history. Yeah. But when it was re-scripted so that the Western world would read about it, it was changed into the form that we have as the Old Testament, where there's talk about Moses and all of these ludicrous, inconsistent stories about slavery in Egypt and expulsion, all of which have been shot down even by modern Jewish scholars. What I'm saying is absolutely in the works of the Jewish scholars about this. But you're right, the Lion of Judea, or the Lion of Judah, was Akhenaton. The Egyptians were the first ones shown as the Lion Kings, and as the Sun Kings. So if the Philip of Bourbon in France is later telling you that he's the Sun King, it's because he knows that that's a heritage passed on to him through the crown of Aton, these ancient cults.
Yeah. And this...
So the house of the Davids, or the Doves, because the commanders of the Atonist cult were called Davids in the Hyksos military regime, because the Hyksos was a military invading pharaonic dynasty, very warlike, unlike the rest of the Egyptians, who were the most spiritual people on earth. The Hyksos were very belligerent and warlike. It's sort of like they were the ones, like, remember in the story of Samson?
Yeah,
they always show the Philistines as being these warlike and very despotic type of creatures. Yeah. And poor Samson, the Jew, has to fight them. Yeah. These are all whistleblowing stories, by the way. The real Philistines were the Hyksos. The Hyksos were of that nature, who stomped around in the streets and rode their military chariots and had everybody in line and everybody in fear. Yeah. We are being told the story, but we're being told it in a very obscure way. Yeah. It's being told in subliminal ways in some of these movies what the true story is. There's an incredible, even in King Lear, the story that I'm talking about the dispossessed king. Yeah. You find that in many, many mythologies of the world, but you don't know what it is that you're reading. You find it in the Arthurian legends. You find it in the story of King Lear. And you find it in many of the biblical stories that never actually happened themselves, but they're retellings They're extremely clever retellings of the story of Aton and Akhenaton, just spray painted up differently to make it look like the story of Samson and the story of Daniel. But you see, they're really about one story that happened in Egypt.
Interesting.
And therefore, after the expulsion of this coterie, and they did go to Sinai, there's evidence why the mountain is also a very featured, the symbol of the mountain is seminal. But yeah, the Lion of Judea is the Sun Kings were inaugurated in Leo, because that's when the sun rose in the first year of the Egyptian New Year. So the Empire of Egypt, which lasted for many, many millennia, almost 25,000 years now, people are speculating, all the pharaohs were worshipped, considered born spiritually in the sign of Leo, and they were referred to as the Lion Kings.
Yeah.
They used to have a lion tail. If anybody even goes to a coffee book table in Egypt and open it, you will see that the apron, all the pharaohs wear a Masonic apron, and they often have a lion's tail hanging down at the back.
Oh.
Yeah. The priests used to wear the panther, with the cheetah skin.
Yeah.
But the symbol of the lion was always reserved for the pharaoh. So when you see these beautiful lions in Trafalgar Square, and when you find out that the lion is the symbol of the Vatican and of Venice, and the patron saint, Saint Mark, Mars, is ruled by the lion, you see, and you see this all-pervasive state symbol. When you find that the tribe of Judah has adopted the lion, ask yourself, where did the tribe of Judah get the symbol of the lion? Out of the thousands and thousands of symbols that have to do with their God, what does the lion have to do with Jehovah? Okay, let me ask that question. And then why is it that the symbol for the tribe of Judah is the same symbol and color as the United Nations symbol?
Yeah.
It's just a slightly different design.
Exactly.
Well, the reason is this. They get the lion because the lion refers to their true masters, who are this Atonist cult, who've been operating behind the world religions ever since. Now, here's the big clincher. As we said, Aton is always called Aton, A-T-O-N.
Yeah.
But the T becomes a D in Hebrew. So Aton is referred to by Jews to this day, and by Christians, as Adon, A-D-O-N, or Adonai.
Adonai, yes.
And the great Jewish scholars admit that this is a rendition of the Aton. So the Aton is the sun god, is the Adon. But who is Adon, really, to the Jews? Adon is the catchphrase or the nomenclature that they use for their true God, Yahweh, or Jehovah.
Yeah.
So my work is to point out this. This has been mentioned in a few other works, but I'm really emphasizing this once and for all so that the world understands something about the religions that they've been worshiping for 2,000 years, is that when you're saying the word Yahweh or Jehovah, a word that is actually taboo for Jews to even say by name, Jews will not refer ever from the pulpit, or a true Orthodox Jew will always say the word Adonai, be praised Adonai. But Adonai, whether the Jewish person realizes it or not, and in most cases it's not, is Atonai, or Aton, the cult of Aton and Akhenaton. So we have the rise of Judeo-Christianity. The Christ is an Egyptian word, referring again to the Holy Anointed One of the Sun King, the Sun Temples.
Yeah, isn't this a connection with Messiah, the crocodile fat?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. The Messiah is just a term that was picked up by Jews. A Messiah meant anointed one. It meant the one who is to come, who's the next in line, the next king of the seed of David. But the seed of David is the Doved, or the doves.
Yeah. Because
the commanders, just like you see the doves at the top of the maces of the Queen of England.
Yeah.
Just like you see the dove being used as Knights of Columbus, or the knight, because Columbus means dove.
Exactly.
Who are these Colums? Who are these Colums? Why is there secret society rituals involving the doves? It's because the doves are the Davids. That's why Queen Elizabeth says, I sit here on the throne of David.
Yeah.
Me and my clan sit here holding the throne for Jesus and the seed of David. Why would she say that? What is the seed of David? Who are the Davids? And what's all this Egyptian symbolism that you find in all the royal dynasties of the world?
Yeah.
It's an incredible story here about these Atonists.
This connects to the British Israelites, and this is fascinating because, just as you say, the Windsors currently sitting on the throne. I mean, do they connect themselves with the tribe of Judah then, I guess? Or
Absolutely, absolutely. They employ the six-pointed star. They employ the red thread. The beefeaters at the Tower of London, you can go and see it yourself, have the red thread, the red band around their waist. Yeah. Does not the Queen walk on the red carpet? Does she not say at the time of her coronation, we are here under the seed of David?
Yeah.
The Judaic symbolism, well, of course, we're now understanding it's not Judaic in the sense of religious, people would understand it. So, Jews can stop dribbling at the mouth and thinking that the Queen is so holy because she's mentioning what appears to be Judaic terms. No. These are free Masonic terms. They have nothing to do with the Torah at all. Yeah. The Torah is a book, just like the Bible, that tells people to live a moral life. Well, then how come Jews are slaughtering Palestinians all over the world and serving the dark forces of the Illuminati? Is that living a moral life? It's because they've been sold a bill of goods. The Jews do not realize that these same Atonist forces run from London and New York funded the Holocaust that murdered so many of their own religious Jews.
Yeah.
But many Jews have woken up to this now, fortunately, through the David Coles and Arthur Koestlers and Benjamin Freemans and others. They're now starting to realize, my God, we have also been placed on the altar of sacrifice by people who are calling themselves Zionists, but who have nothing to do with us. And who are these people that are first putting us on the altar of sacrifice, and as well as the Gentiles and the Arabs, getting us to fight like maniacs over something that has nothing to do with us, that's not mentioned in the Torah at all? Who are the Knights of the Temple of Zion when the Crusaders went over to the temple, so-called, of Solomon?
Yeah.
Solomon has nothing to do with any Jews. Sol-Om-On are the three names of the sun in the ancient world, meaning, again, it's the old Egyptian cults of the sun, is where the Templars went to be initiated by them and to be brought under their service. Because when these Knights Templars happened to be fighting the Crusades, I believe that they fell in with the cult of Aton. The cult of Aton, who had been having many power dynasties surreptitiously, I'm talking about under the cover, not openly in history anymore. Because they couldn't work openly after they left Egypt. But they were an extreme money power in the Far East, as well as in the West. And therefore, I believe that the Templars met with these people. They were co-opted, and they were shown secrets. So when they say we were shown secrets under the Temple of Solomon, the Knights Templar writings say, we found gold and great treasures under the Temple of Solomon. Of course, all the mugs, all the Indiana Jones run out there with their spades, trying to find it's so preposterous, Henrik, it makes me almost want to just pull my hair out. It's like, you're now running out with spades, digging under the Temple of Solomon for a few coins. You think that that's the secret that they were telling you about? You're looking for the Ark of the Covenant. You think you really imagine that there's a real physical thing? I mean, can we grow up a bit and realize that the temple that the treasure that they're talking about, is not some pirate's treasure. It's a secret, keeper of the royal secret. What royal secret that the 32nd and 33rd degree Freemasons are aware of? I'll tell you the secret. I've exposed it.
Please do.
That these people are worshiping the Christed one, the Saul kings from old.
Yeah.
And that's why they're on their knees. And that's why all kings, the motto of all world Freemasonry. And you can see this motto not only in Freemasonic lodges, but you can see it on many courts.
Yeah.
Is per me regnus regnant in Latin. And it means through me all kings will reign. Why has nobody in the research community and the conspiratorial movement asked the question, who's that me? When you see the New World Order banner at the bottom of the dollar bill, why doesn't people ask, who's New World Order?
Yeah.
It's the New World Order of these Levitical, Hyksos, cult of Aton individuals, the true Yahwists.
Yeah.
After losing Egypt, Henrik, they decided that nothing less would suffice their monomania and their egotism than to have the whole world now become theirs. This is what I'm talking about when I say get into the mind of your rival.
Yeah, exactly.
Come them, think in your mind. Sit down and think, my God, how you would feel if you and your coterie were given the big finger. Out you go, and never come back here.
Yeah.
And I'll ride my chariots over you, which is in fact what they had to do. Akhenaton eventually was killed, literally by Seti I. His chariots had to go and run over the guy because they were always trying to come back and infiltrate Egypt again. But you can imagine what the commanders and these great Atonist cult, why did Moses put up his brazen serpent in the desert? I'll tell you why, because it's pharaonic. He was a pharaoh. Moses was the pharaoh.
Yeah, of course.
Now, their hatred of Egypt is why we don't read any of what we've been talking about for the last 40 minutes in the Bible. It's because after leaving, because a lot of people will say, well, wait a minute, how come this stuff is not in the Bible if it's real history?
Yeah.
It's because after the expulsion, these people became the greatest haters of Egypt and everything that was Egyptian. It's just like you being thrown out of a college. Won't you be sitting at the bar telling all your friends how horrible it was?
Yeah, of course.
It's the evilest thing in the world. When you were involved in it, when you were the secretary or the executive, it was the most wonderful thing in the world.
Yeah.
Then all your neighbors had to hear about it. Once you get booted out because you embezzled, then, of course, they were corrupt. Yeah. They're evil. They didn't understand you.
Of course.
Simple human psychology.
Yeah.
Well, imagine magnified